Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Today, let's look at the naira. Everybody knows about the naira, but then it's a very, very technical device, contrary to what a lot of people might feel. Let's take, for instance, the fact that we've been hearing that the naira is now exchanging against the US dollar at somewhere around 1,050. That's an all-time high. There was a time when people were looking at that 1,000 naira mark with foreboding, saying, no, it never gets as bad as that. Well, it has gone past that. And I don't know what hope there is for it to come back to a more manageable rate. Right now, quite frankly, I guess the best that can be said is that the naira is in a very sorry state. My guest, to help us understand it, against the backdrop of our topic of discussion today, which is that the finance minister has blamed an overdue forward payment of 6.8 billion naira as partly responsible for the situation here. And he has said that the naira will recover once the overdue contracts are settled, as it would ensure an additional forex inflow into the forex market. Well, one of our experts today is Mr. Kayode Oyedeji. He's an economist, and I thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Everybody likes money, but not everybody understands it. So, talking in particular about, the most valuable. Okay, I hear that we also have with us our friend, Mr. Johnson Chukwu. He's also an economist and CEO of Cowrie Assets Management Limited. He joins us remotely via Zoom. A fine morning to you, Mr. Chukwu.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so let me start in studio here, where I've been chatting with Kayode Oyedeji. First of all, so by way of a preliminary sort of explanation, the official rate is somewhere in the 800 naira to the dollar ballpark, somewhere in there. I just said that the black market rate is around the 1,030, 40, 50 ballpark. This is not good at all because people can remember in the in a bygone era when the naira was trading at somewhere in the region of, it had gotten very expensive at around 300 and something naira to the dollar. And people were complaining at that time, little did they know. So here we are now. President Tinubu is doing all that he can to get foreign direct investment, but as I was just quoting, the naira will only recover once the overdue. By the way, this gives me an opportunity. Can you explain what economists mean when they talk about an overdue forward payment of 6.8 billion naira that is really holding things up for us?
Well, I think it's important to talk about what the foreign reserves itself is all about. The foreign reserves does not exclusively belong to the federal government or the central bank. It's the aggregate of foreign currencies, especially convertible currencies, that is in the kitty, in the custody of the central bank or the banking system, not necessarily in terms of ownership, but in the custody of the regulatory bank. So they are for different things. Some are for, you've done business with your partners in China, they've made payments here to get to your account. Some are in transit. Some already have commitment for other things. Some are encrypted. Some are used as security for other transactions and co. So at the end of the day, if you say, for instance, you have a foreign reserves of $30 billion, what is not encumbered? What is available for federal government or the state government from the oil proceeds and co. will just be another $6 billion or thereabouts. So we have a situation whereby what is actually available for international transactions now is less than probably $4 or $5 billion out of the entire foreign exchange. They have all kinds of transactions, financial transactions, that commitments that have been made against the foreign exchange reserves. So
we, Nigeria, continued to dip in our foreign reserves
yes,
because there was nowhere else to turn.
For instance, For instance, people have paid for airline tickets from all over the world. The airline companies have not been able to recover their money because their money is locked up somewhere within the banking system. They have paid. The only option, you have to give them naira, and they don't need your naira. They have to repatriate their money back in form of convertible currency, probably dollars or pound sterling or whatever they want. They have over $800 million trapped in that already. So we are talking about all kinds of inhibitions on the little available dollars which we have. And in this case, the finance minister is saying, if you don't settle this, there is no way we can move ahead. But basically, when we look at it all together, the problem which we have, I'll describe it as this: Nigeria is dollar broke.
Okay.
And unquote.
And so when the dollar is called upon, we can't really...
We don't have to meet our immediate obligations for foreign transactions.
Okay. Johnson, let me come to you now. There's a question I've always wondered about. People talk about, overdue forward payments. Now, the classroom aspect of it, very, very elementary, is that this is supposed to be a deals that were made earlier, to pay an agreed rate at a future date. So I wanted to ask you, Johnson, when were these deals made, and how were they made that now we are talking about an overdue forward payment?
Okay, thank you, Uncle. I actually wanted to start from that point because you asked that question earlier, and we needed to, for the benefit of the audience, make them understand what a forward deal is, a forward transaction is. A forward transaction is a contractual obligation entered into by two parties, with one party promising to deliver either goods or services or currency to the other party at a determined rate, at a future determined date.
Yes.
So in that case, the central bank had entered into contracts, and because the central bank was selling dollar in forward, which means it was saying, look, I will deliver to you dollar maybe at the end of September this year,
yes,
2023. So in the course of its business, the course of normal business, central bank had introduced forward transactions, which allowed it to delay delivery of dollars to a future date. It could work in this way because why people take it on is, look, I'm going to the contract in Nigeria, but I want to be sure that dollar will be delivered to me in June this year. And I enter into a contract and pay a fee to get that dollar delivered to me in June. So when June comes, I should have that dollar delivered to me. So if the dollar is not delivered to me in June, that dollar qualifies as overdue or matured forwards that have not been redeemed or cleared. And because in the course of its normal lender of last resort, it had been entering into several of these forwards. And those forwards were timed at different periods. So we're talking of those that are due for settlement that have not been settled. So it's not a contract that was entered on a single day. It was a contract that was entered over a period of time with different maturity dates. But as long as they keep maturing and not being paid, it becomes obligated to pay them. But the most important thing we must take away from this is that when people are in a hole and they can't come out, nobody wants to go into that hole. If a building is collapsing and the outlets, the routes you can come out, or a stadium is collapsing and the doors you can come out from are all blocked, nobody wants to see, even if there's a window that's open, to go into that window. And that's why the emphasis has been, we need to clear the arrears of forward transactions so that we will give investors the confidence that when they come in here, they won't be trapped. If you have people who are trapped, nobody wants to go and test whether they'll be trapped. And that's the message that we must bear in mind.
And that is why the Minister of Finance was saying that once the overdue contracts are settled. Now, let me bring that back to the studio here. As we've just heard, it's like almost like an impossible race, almost technically. And but he's saying once it is settled. So he said at the time that a number of measures were being engaged with. So having known how difficult it is to come out from such an it's almost, let me be very careful with my economic expressions here. It's not exactly a debt overhang, but let me just call overdue forward payments. How do we get out of that? What are the even classical explanations for how to achieve that very, very difficult feat?
I think historically, we didn't just get to this point overnight. We've had very 8 challenging years where we couldn't,
as Johnson was saying, incrementally till we got to this place.
Define the dynamics of our foreign exchange management. How do you want to do to make sure that we manage the circumstance in a way that it won't hurt the economy, it won't hurt operators, it won't hurt foreign investors. Like you said, the most important thing the investors look at for is the safety of the investment. As a when do you can transfer your investments, you can transfer the capital, you can take decisions based on what you think is best for you. But in this case, we have, even the airlines can't take their money out. Major investors can't take their money out. Their money is practically trapped. So you begin to wonder how we go.
It's trapped in the sense that it's on the books as you owe me,
but you don't
but
have
I can't
cash backing for
get
it.
hold of it.
You can't say, for instance, I've sold airline tickets amounting to $1 million. I need my $1 million immediately.
We are not in a position
to. You can't talk to Zenith Bank and say transfer immediately $1 million.
We are not in that position.
We are not in that position. So the truth is Nigeria is dollar broke.
Yes, as you said.
Put it that way. We are not generating enough dollars to fund our foreign operations, foreign transactions. And you see, towards the tail end of the last government, the whole world got to know that our major sources of foreign exchange had declined aggressively, progressively over the years, to the extent that we were doing maybe 800,000 barrels of oil in a day instead of our OPEC target of about 2 million, approximately 2 million barrels. So everything that could go wrong went wrong with the economy, and it's so bad that people can't come in and go out as they want. So what CBN and the president must do at this particular time is to make sure that they clean up the mess, pay off all obligations, whether you're an airline, whether you're an investor, you're an importer, exporter. When you clear that off, then you begin to tell people that whatever you are bringing in, it's safe.
It's safe. Now, that's not... Johnson, I'm coming back to you. That option, of course, it seems logical, but the devil is, of course, in the details. How we're going to achieve that coming out of this, this overdue forward payment situation that we have on our hands here? I've just heard that it's simply that we're dollar broke. We are simply not generating enough dollars. How long is this going to go on? Because we can't wait forever. President Tinubu is busy inviting people to come in because this is the place to do business. But businessmen around the world are looking at these details and are saying, indeed, with due respect, I hear what you're saying, but it's money I'm bringing, and it doesn't look good in Nigeria at the moment. Is that stating it too crudely?
I think in the way it is, like I said earlier, that nobody will go into a trap hole. You must be out of your mind to do that. So that's basically why any effort now at bringing foreign portfolio investors will not achieve much results. You know, there's a lot of difference between verbal commitment and final investment decision, where the investor has taken assessed all the risk and has made financial commitment to really invest. There's a long journey between those verbal commitments. Sometimes they receive when they travel. Those are feel-good statements by people who are being courteous to say, look, yes, thank you, Mr. President. We will come. We will put in 1 billion. We will put in 3 billion. But they have to do they have to check the hard facts. And the hard facts about the country's economy is not positive. It's not strong. So we must address those issues. How long will this take? The first thing we need to do is that, apart from the forward, we need to fully understand the obligations that are due for payment that are not being paid. The foreign currency obligations that are due for payment that are not being paid. My colleague there had made mention of due to the airlines. Beyond what is due to the airlines, he also mentioned due to foreign portfolio investors that have sold their naira assets and want to exit, including dividend repatriation that have not been able to get forex. Then you add that to matured letters of credit that have not been negotiated. Then, in addition to this, you top them up with currency swap with local banks that the central bank had entered into. We need to sum up this and determine how much exposure we have in dollar terms. And then we need to assess funding from either a multilateral lending agency or a bilateral partner. The multilateral lending agencies could be, those have that kind of capacity to support us at the likes of IMF, World Bank. So we may need to go to IMF, World Bank, and then seek for balance of payment support or any form of lending that they can provide to us. And then possibly agree on a 20-year concessionary loan. Possibly, by the time we determine what is outstanding, maybe we have 10 billion, maybe we have 15 billion outstanding. Then we go for something above what we have outstanding, so that we also have the liquidity to stimulate the market and restore confidence. So that's the way out.